Welcome to New Mexico, the land of enchantment, full of cactus and desert, but also beautiful mountains, home to petroglyphs and Spanish architecture. A state we had never really explored. And by the end of the week, New Mexico would top our list of underrated places. But it didn't start out that way.
I didn't even realize he had pulled a gun because I had my back turned. I was out of the car. So, yeah.
Our first night in New Mexico started like the hundreds of other nights we've spent camping on public land, looking at maps and wondering what the endless roads might lead to. We'd had a big drive day through Texas after our southern U.S. road trip, and we were excited to be back in the West. Heather had found a promising spot on BLM land that looked interesting. The campsite was accessible via a public easement through private property, which is a very common way for outdoor users to access land in the West. We bumped along the moderately traveled dirt road and went to bed. We had a peaceful evening in the woods and woke up excited to get on the road towards our destination for the day. But our excitement was quickly squashed when we noticed a small coolant leak coming from our radiator hose while doing our morning walk around. Thankfully, it was a quick fix, and we were soon continuing down the mountain. We slowly bounced and scraped along, commenting about how we had gotten our bad luck for the day behind us bright and early, when we were proven oh so wrong. Alright. Something a little crazy just happened. We figured we should tell you about it once we'd calmed down a little bit from the adrenaline high. So we were coming down after camping for the night, and the road is a county road, so it's public, but it does cross through some private land, so you have to stay on the road. And so we were doing that, but we had stopped for a second so Heather could go out and take a little bit of video. We were staying on the road, which to our knowledge is fully legal, and a white pickup comes zooming in, maybe 30 miles an hour, and stops right in front of us, and the guy jumps out and has a gun and is pointing it at us, and put our hands up like, what's going on? And then
Start screaming at us.
What are you doing? You think it's okay to drive on other people's private property? And we were like, no, we don't do that. It's a public road, isn't it? This is public, but that's not. I see tire tracks. He said, well, we didn't drive on that. And he eventually kind of put his gun down and in his pocket and slowly calmed down as we explained to him that we use Gaia and Onyx, and we didn't in fact go on any private property. We were only on the public county road and BLM land. So it was a little scary. First time I've ever had a gun pointed at me, so that was something. But thankfully we de-escalated the situation, and he drove off, and then we drove off. While we may appear calm in the video, our souls were truly shaken after this experience. On our first day back out west, excited to finally be exploring new-to-us places in our truck, we had one of the most terrifying experiences of our lives. Having our safety so directly threatened left us questioning if we'd made a mistake in choosing to live on the road full-time. We continued down the road, but we again felt lost, like something was missing, as if some of the magic we used to see in Overlanding had vanished. We were hurt, but nature has a way of healing, so we decided to find a quiet spot to recover and recharge. We were near White Sands National Park, which we knew would welcome us with open arms, even though we're not allowed to film video in it. We spent the day climbing up and sliding down the dunes. Fun fact, this is one of the few national parks where dogs are allowed off the pavement, so we took a nice long walk, got away from the truck, and took a moment to reflect on our experience that morning. We were very thankful that the encounter didn't end up worse, and by the time we had returned to our rolling home and exited the park, we were ready to venture into BLM land once again to find a place to camp. We drove to the Oregon Mountains, just outside of Las Cruces, and boy, were we in for a surprise. and for the first time this day, it was a pleasant one. We were greeted by beautiful, jagged mountains and plenty of small side roads to explore in the truck and make camp on in the valley next to them. The nearby peaks are within a federal wilderness area, meaning with a short walk we'd be able to find some solitude and quiet, which is exactly what we were craving. We walked around a bit, took some photos, and treated ourselves to a quiet evening watching the sunset. Since moving into the truck, we have seen so many sunsets. We find ourselves in incredible places, and our favorite time to be outside in these places is the brief period between day and night. Animals are on the move, birds are singing, and the colors, long shadows, and ever-changing light make for great photographs. It's a great way to wind down after a long day, and boy, did we need to wind down. We went to bed early so that we'd be ready to explore the big peaks the next day. We woke up the next morning feeling refreshed and ready for some exercise. Our morning commute this day was just across the paved road to the wilderness, where we had chosen a few spots we wanted to check out and see how far up the mountain we could get. These peaks are relatively untraveled. For whatever reason, they don't get nearly the hiker traffic that most wilderness areas in other western states see. While we enjoy the solitude, it also makes getting info about the trails ahead of time a bit more challenging. We headed up, not knowing what we'd encounter. Some of the trails we found were mapped, while there were mapped trails we couldn't find. We had no real objective for the day except to get some exercise, take in some views, and explore the area. We really love to simply wander, whether it's in the mountains, on a beach, or through the woods. It's an amazing feeling to let our feet decide where to go in the moment, and simply head back when we get tired. I guess our wandering during day trips is similar to how we spend our time more generally, picking an area we want to explore, and then just poking around. Perhaps there are some places that we'd like to see, but mostly allowing the landscape and weather to dictate our pace and direction. Some may call us aimless, but for us, having the time to just wander is like gold. No destinations, no deadlines. It allows us time to smell the desert roses and to ponder questions that we don't have time for when in everyday life. The sun started to sink in the sky and our legs grew tired, so we headed back to the truck just in time to watch another sunset. Soon it was time to move. We needed food and water, and we were ready to check out another spot we had scoped out earlier. We packed up the truck and said goodbye to another great campsite. We filled water at a nearby BLM visitor center and grabbed groceries in Las Cruces before pointing the truck back out towards another mountain range close to town. This area was also BLM, but there were mountain bike trails crisscrossing the land, which for us is always a good reason to stay for a few days. We got to the new area, and in true HD.Adventuring fashion, we skipped the first viable campsite we saw. And then we skipped 5 more. We slowly chugged along the 4x4 trails, testing out the truck's ability on some more challenging terrain. When people ask us how well the truck drives off-road, we give it to them straight. It's not a Jeep, but it's also a whole lot more capable than a dually truck towing a fifth wheel. Steep ups and downs are no problem, as long as they're not off camber. We have pretty good ground clearance, so we just take it slow and let the truck roll over the big rocks. We do get a fair bit of body roll, but when you're carrying a 12-foot tall house, that's to be expected. Our picky nature when searching for a campsite paid off yet again, and we found a great spot far away from anyone else with good views of both the mountains and town, and it was right near some of the most interesting mountain bike trails. The next day we pulled out the bikes, excited to explore more around this interesting area. Again, there were hardly any other humans around, and we enjoyed riding the trails all to ourselves. But soon, something else caught our attention. All right, so we have been looking at this peak back there all week as we've been camped here and riding around, and just looked on the map, and there really is no trail to get to the top, but we are going to try to take our mountain bikes to the base of it, stash them somewhere, and then scramble up the top, see if we can get a view. All right, start your timer. We're going up there.
All right, so we just rode about a mile away from the campsite, and now we're in the foothills of the mountain. We're gonna follow this road for a little bit further with the bikes and then try and stash them somewhere safe. And then we'll see, it's gonna be a little bit of a scramble, I think. We don't really know where we're going or how we're getting there, but the goal is to get on top of that mountain, and yeah, we'll see. It might be too steep or overgrown, but I figure it's not an adventure without a little bit of an unknown.
More technical than I thought.
Yeah. All right, so we're gonna stash our bikes. We're not particularly worried about them being stolen since there's quite literally no one out here. But this is seemingly somewhat popular of like OHV type trails, considering how many beer cans and glass bottles are shattered out here. So don't want to take any chances. We're just gonna hide them.
Is that pretty well hidden?
Yeah, I mean,
I can't see many roads from the
yeah. Someone would have to be going out of their way to see them back here, I think. I'm gonna take my water out of there. Thanks.
Here?
That's from the other day, so there's probably a little bit.
I'm taking that. I didn't bring any water. Really smart of me. I brought all the camera gear and the drone. But
Only the essentials.
just the essentials, man. No water, so stick that away just in case. We slowly scrambled up the mountain, getting rerouted or turned around a few times by the terrain. We finally got close to the top, but we were reaching our limit in terms of time, lack of water, and rock climbing ability. So I am maybe 20 vertical feet from this false summit here, but honestly I don't know if it's gonna go. It's like really big chunky rocks that I've seen someone has definitely done it, but there's a lot of rocks like balanced weirdly. I don't know if I really want to potentially upset one of them. Within sight of the summit, we decided to turn around and head down the mountain. While we had not summited, we had enjoyed the climb up and knew we still needed to get down.
So grippy though.
Yeah. We walked and slid our way back to the bikes and then rode back to the truck, just in time to catch the sunset. I'll be honest, our trip to New Mexico started off bad. Really bad. Like, don't tell our parents about this moment bad. It left us questioning decisions we had made and wondering if we were taking too many risks. But with each mountain peak, majestic cactus, and brilliant sunset we observed, our memories of the rough start with this state faded. While we'll certainly remember that rough first day for the rest of our lives, we'll also remember the great days that came after it. Like many places we visit, we never seem to have enough time. We've just scratched the surface of New Mexico. But now that we've seen some of the magic, we'll be sure to head back when time allows. Oh, and before you leave, please consider hitting that like button, leaving a comment, or subscribing to our channel. It means a lot to us. Thanks.